Chapter 91 Feeding Evil Spirits and Taking Shelter in the Skin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, Lu Xuan got up early and felt refreshed. After taking away a ghost-faced stone mushroom in the middle of the night, he started fishing again during the day. Although he already has a way to identify normal asparagus grass, he also knows that under the stimulation of ice and fire spells, the silk whiskers in the asparagus grass that are in a mutated state will undergo relatively obvious changes, but it was difficult to reveal these. And Lu Xuan himself didn't want to be in the limelight, so he mingled with the crowd, walking around and busy on the surface, looking like he was working hard, but in fact he was searching everywhere for the ghost-faced stone mushroom. In the end, he found a total of 5 ghost-faced stone mushrooms, including the one he took last night. Such a big unexpected joy made him even happier while fishing. In a pile of asparagus grass, he squatted down, holding a long dark red beard in his hand, staring with his eyes, checking various parts of the asparagus grass from time to time, but his thoughts had wandered to nowhere. Suddenly, a long dark red beard quickly shot out from the tentacle-like asparagus grass, attacking Lu Xuan. Lu Xuan was already prepared, and a first-grade sword energy talisman appeared in his palm. The spiritual power was quickly activated, and the lines on the talisman changed instantly, and a sharp sword energy shot out, cutting the incoming mutant dragon beard grass into 2 pieces. The attack strength of this mutated dragon's beard is about the same as that of a first and second level chi training monk. It won't be much of a threat. The only thing is that it's impossible to guard against it, so you can't be too relaxed. Lu Xuan secretly thought that there were a lot of asparagus plants. Since he didn't know which ones were mutant plants, he had to be vigilant at all times, otherwise there would be a risk of injury. Just as he was about to continue to examine the asparagus grass in front of him, 6 or 7 dark red long whiskers suddenly emerged from the grass pile, like poisonous snakes, and shot towards Lu Xuan quickly. Lu Xuan remained calm in the face of danger, and 3 first-grade sword chi talismans appeared in his palms. He activated them at the same time, and the 3 sword chi shot out in the shape of a font, cutting 6 or 7 long dark red beards into pieces. Fellow Daoist Lu has a lot of sword energy talismans on his body. That the sound of killing several mutated dragons' beards attracted the attention of a spiritual planter next to him, who sighed. Lu Xuan smiled. There is no other way. I am not good at fighting, and I heard that accidents often happen in the secret realm. Therefore, before setting off, I specially prepared a lot of talismans in case of emergencies. As an ordinary spiritual planter, because I am afraid of encountering danger, it is more reasonable to prepare more talismans. Lu Xuan's spiritual consciousness entered the storage bag, looked at the many talismans piled together, and sighed deep in his heart. Incidents of attacks by mutated dragon beards occurred from time to time, and Lu Xuan was not affected as he was well prepared. One day passed, and 15 spiritual planters used various methods to select dozens of asparagus grasses. In the camp, Li Jianfeng sat on the boulder, eyes closed, motionless, like a sculpture. Suddenly, he opened his eyes, and Wang Ruhai's figure floated nimbly in front of him. How did your day go? Li Jianfeng pointed to a small pile of asparagus grass on the ground and said. The spiritual plant masters kept trying the techniques of cultivating spiritual plants, and finally picked these asparagus grasses, but they can't guarantee that they are all normal plants, and they can't be sure that there are no abnormal things mixed inside the asparagus grasses. A group of people who are just trying to gain fame and reputation. Wang Ruhai couldn't help but feel a sense of irritation and violence in his heart, and a trace of impatience flashed in his eyes. Originally, I thought that if I invited more than a dozen of the most famous spiritual planters in the city, I would be able to deal with the asparagus grasses in front of me very well, and bring a lot of benefits to the Wang family, and I would also benefit from it. Unexpectedly, things did not happen as he expected. The identification, separation and picking of normal asparagus grass were only slightly faster than before, but after spending a lot of spiritual stones, it seemed quite uneconomical. It's better to go to the secret realm more and hunt some monsters. The elegant scribe thought in his heart. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye, and Lu Xuan found no new ghost-faced stone mushroom. During this period, He used the invisibility ability of the hidden spirit cloak to sneak out in the middle of the night and take away a dormant ghost-faced stone mushroom. As for picking asparagus grass, his performance was ordinary and there was nothing outstanding about it. It only provides 2 or 3 asparagus grasses every day, most of which are normal plants, and occasionally a mutant asparagus grass is mixed in. That evening, after a busy day, he returned to the camp. As he got closer and closer to the camp, Lu Xuan suddenly felt a chill in his chest. The chill was getting worse and worse, and when we were just 3 feet away from the camp, the coldness almost penetrated into our bones. Lu Xuan's expression gradually became serious. There was a transparent jade talisman hanging on his chest. It was a 3rd-grade unsullied jade extracted from perfect quality red cloud pine nuts. Innocent jade can keep monks sane and resist the invasion and pollution of evil spirits. Long-term wearing can slightly enhance the spiritual awareness of monks. He has never left his body since he got it. He has never experienced any abnormal state until now. Only then did he have such a cold and biting meaning. He paused slightly, pretended to be wandering, turned a corner, and deviated from the camp location. As we got further and further away from the camp, the coldness in my chest became much lighter, leaving only a slight feeling of coolness. 9 out of 10 evil spirits appear in the camp. I don't know how they invaded or what stage of their strength they are. In Lu Xuan's dantian, the Xuanlei sword pill's sword light flickered, stretching and contracting erratically. After being nourished with spiritual power every day and transformed into sword energy, the black wind roared inside the sword pill, the arc jumped, and the sword energy became sharper and more pronounced. This makes Lu Xuan feel a lot more at ease. He has this Xuanlei sword pill, which is good at killing, plus the Gingjin sword art of the Grandmaster level, numerous 2nd-grade talismans, 3rd-grade hidden spirit cloak, innocent jade, and 2nd-grade red thread needles. Red scale armor, the secret technique of blood-burning arrows. Even if it is a ghost-level evil spirit, he is somewhat confident enough to save his life. Staying outside the camp for a long time was not an option. Lu Xuan stayed for a moment and slowly followed a spiritual planter who finished his work late, and returned to the camp together. He ate normally at his usual pace, and after the meal he went to the homes of several spiritual planters to chat and ask for advice on spiritual plantation. It's basically certain that they are among the Wang family, but I don't know if they are hiding in the house or if they have invaded the monk's body. Lu Xuan returned to his room and thought to himself, he just moved around intentionally. Based on the intensity of the chill coming from the Wugo jade, he kept adjusting his position and narrowing down the area. Finally, he roughly determined that the evil spirit was located among the Wang family. While everything is acting as normal, we must discover the traces of evil spirits as soon as possible. Lu Xuan pondered for a moment and took out the cloud-stepping lynx from the bag. The cloud-walking lynx landed on the ground, the 2 tufts of gray hair on the tips of its ears trembled, and it called softly. Ouch! I'll go to a place later. There's an evil spirit hiding there. Try to see if you can find it. If you can find it, just call him in a low voice. When you walk in front of him, the hair on your ears twitches down. Understand? Yet, the cloud-stepping lynx nodded slightly to express his understanding. It jumped up onto Lu Xuan's shoulders and was led by Lu Xuan into the house where the Wang family lived. Ouch! The cloud-walking lynx kept scanning with its green eyes and called out softly. Lu Xuan immediately understood that it had found traces of evil spirits. He walked over and greeted the Wang monk he saw with a smile. Suddenly, his eyes glanced to the side of his shoulder, and the gray hair on the tips of the lynx's ears twitched down. Looking up, Wang Ruhai was looking at him with a smile, while Li Jianfeng stood silently behind him. The cloud-walking lynx whimpered softly, its hair standing on end, its body hunched over, its green eyes staring at the smiling Wang Ruhai. Fellow Daoist Lu, is this just a spiritual beast that you raise? Yes, it is still in the cub stage. I couldn't worry about it, so I put it in the spirit beast bag and brought it over. The Xuanlei sword pill in Lu Xuan's dantian kept spinning. His sword intent was strong, but a warm smile appeared on his face. This lynx has been kept at home since he was a child. He is quite afraid of strangers, so when he saw the 2 fellow Taoists, he went a little too far. Please forgive me, fellow Daoist Wang and fellow Daoist Li. There are some spiritual fruits here, which are fragrant and sweet. You two Taoists can have a taste. Lu Xuan took out more than a dozen thumb-sized green spiritual fruits and handed them to the two of them. Good. Wang Ruhai took the green spirit fruit with a smile and handed a few to Li Jianfeng behind him. I don't know if it was an illusion, but Lu Xuan felt that his smile fit the term smiling but not smiling. It's as if the dough drives the muscles, rather than the muscles pulling the dough. He smiled and watched Wang Ruhai and the two eat the spirit fruit, with a sense of expectation in his heart. Long before, after he planted the asparagus grass that he picked in the wild, he could detect the detailed status of the asparagus grass. In the same way, would raising monster beasts do the same thing? What about raising evil spirits? After the two of them swallowed the spiritual fruit, Lu Xian's mind gathered together. There was nothing unusual about Li Jianfeng. When they gathered on Wang Ruhai, a thought poured into his mind, inhabiting a skin bag, an alien evil spirit. The body is an evil skin bag. After invading and contaminating a monk, it can occupy the monk's body and retain most of its habits. It likes to collect monk skin bags. Chapter 92. It's always fun to keep reporting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You can actually use this method to confirm the identity of Xie Sui. Lu Xuan returned to the house, still a little unbelievable in his heart. After he learned that Wang Ruhai had been invaded and occupied by evil spirits, he tried to feed him a few spiritual fruits, but unexpectedly he discovered the details of the evil spirits in him. However, although this method looks strange, the actual effect is not as great as imagined. I just learned about the evil spirit, but I don't know its abilities and flaws. Moreover, under normal circumstances, the evil spirit will not eat something given by a strange monk for no reason. Lu Xuan analyzed. As for how to deal with evil spirits after discovering traces of them, he would not take the initiative to expose this fact anyway, let alone have the idea of eradicating evil spirits, defending the law, and cleaning up evil spirits. There were only three choices before him: either wait, escape, or deal with the evil spirit. Waiting for the evil spirit to take the initiative or accidentally being exposed, but this is too passive. If he escapes from here, he is not familiar with the secret realm and is not suitable. Moreover, he is not sure whether he will encounter other evil spirits after escaping alone. Beast. It's better to solve it, and have it solved by someone else. Lu Xuan had an idea in his mind. It feels good to report for a while, and it feels good to keep reporting. The night is getting darker. Inside the house where Li Jianfeng lives, suddenly, there was a slight noise, and a small paper ball thrown from nowhere fell into the room. Before the small paper ball fell, Li Jianfeng, who was sleeping on the bed, opened his eyes with sharp eyes, jumped up like a carp, and rushed out of the room. Outside the house, the moon is as cold as water, and there is no trace of any figure. Li Jianfeng held a thick sword in his hand, his eyes were like lightning, and the centipede-like scars on his face looked even more ferocious in the night. His spiritual consciousness swept around, and the entire camp was extremely quiet, with only the sound of gentle breathing coming from the tent. Li Jianfeng returned to the room with a solemn expression, and the tip of his broadsword flexibly opened the paper ball on the ground. The line of crooked handwriting was revealed. Be careful. Wang Ruhai has been invaded and polluted by evil spirits. That it can be seen that in order to conceal his handwriting, the owner of the handwriting obviously wrote with his non-dominant hand. There was no change in Li Jianfeng's eyes. His spiritual power was running, and a dark black flame emerged from the tip of the knife, burning the paper ball into black ashes. Early in the morning, Lu Xuan yawned and walked out of the house. Last night, he activated the hidden spirit cloak and threw a paper ball to Li Jianfeng in his invisible state as a warning. Then, fearing that something might happen, he took advantage of the situation and pocketed the remaining 3 ghost-faced stone mushrooms on the mountainside. After returning to the house, I basically didn't close my eyes, so I was a little sleepy. He arrived at the dining hall of the camp, where many monks had gathered. The coldness in his chest became stronger and stronger, making Lu Xuan wake up instantly. While he was eating, he observed Li Jianfeng and Wang Ruhai. Everything was going on as usual, no different from usual times. Lu Xian's paper ball seemed to have disappeared into the sea, and there was no news. Problem occurs. A middle-aged spiritual planter ran into the crowd and shouted in panic. Xia Daoyu seems to be missing. I just didn't find any trace of Daoist Xia, so I went over to look around his house, but still didn't see him. Do you think something will happen to him? As soon as these words came out, the spiritual planters present became a little restless, with worried looks on their faces and whispers. Calm down. Why panic? Let's look around in the mountains first. Wang Ruhai stood up and scolded sternly. People gathered in small groups and searched the mountainside, but still no trace of the monk surnamed Xia was found. Fellow Daoist Xia may encounter something unexpected, or he may just leave for business. You don't need to panic, just be vigilant and be careful. There are many high-level and mid-level Qi practitioners here. Even if some evil beasts invade, they will not be our opponents. Wang Ruhai comforted more than a dozen spiritual planters. Lu Xuan was mixed in the crowd, looking uneasy, and seemed to be worried about his own safety. Wang Ruhai quickly formulated countermeasures. He and Li Jianfeng were the most powerful among the monks. The two agreed that one of them would take turns to watch in the middle of the night to ensure the safety of the spiritual planters present. In such an uneasy atmosphere, the spiritual planters harvested asparagus grass at a much slower pace. Soon, night falls, a ghostly figure suddenly appeared in the camp. Under the moonlight, the figure's head turned, as if it was looking for something. After determining the target, he stretched out his hand and lightly scratched the middle of his forehead. Immediately, a lifelike pale skin fell off silently, and the muscle tissue inside was exposed. With a strange smile on his pale skin, he flew lightly towards a wooden house. Suddenly, a ray of sword light came suddenly, as if it was about to cut off the skin bag. The pale skin was stirred by the light of the sword, fluttering messily in the wind, but just right to avoid the cold light of the sword. Who are you to possess the body of fellow Daoist Wang? Li Jianfeng walked out of a shadow holding a heavy sword. He didn't pay much attention to the paper ball at first, thinking it was just a prank, or a monk was deliberately trying to instigate a relationship between the two. But after discovering that a spiritual planter was missing during the day, he suddenly believed a lot about the writing on the paper ball, so he stayed up all night in the camp, waiting for the moment when the evil spirit appears. Who am I? I am Wang Ruhai. That the smile on the pale skin was even wider, and it spread out in the air, revealing Wang Ruhai's face. You are so bold and evil, you dare to invade the Wang family monks. You must die. A dark black flame rose from the big knife in his hand, and his whole body shot into the strange skin in the air like an arrow from the string. What happened in the camp had already awakened everyone. Most of the people present were at the mid-level of Qi training, good at planting, not good at fighting. Seeing this strange and terrifying skin in the sky, and thinking of Wang Ruhai's high-level Qi training, they were all unknowingly invaded by evil spirits. Therefore, many spiritual planters ran out of the camp directly. The same is true for Lu Xuan. Although he used the method of reporting to quickly uncover the body of the host, it would be wishful thinking to let him join forces to deal with the evil spirit. He had a first-grade swift talisman attached to each of his legs and was walking quickly in the night. According to his memory when he came, he did not run to the depths of the secret realm. Instead, he kept heading towards the outer area of the secret realm, intending to escape from here as soon as possible. When I return to Fang City, I must find a way to buy a lightweight technique. Nearly half an hour later, Lu Xuan leaned against a big tree and thought to himself. After having the white light group, he has been waiting for the reward from the light group. I originally thought that if I could prescribe a lightning spell, with the existence of the experience pack, I could save myself a lot of practice time. In addition, the spiritual stones on his body have been hovering around the food and clothing line, and he has prioritized purchasing spiritual seeds and spiritual beast cubs. Therefore, he has never had the opportunity to learn a method of lightening his body. In this situation, the effect of the method of lightening one's body is highlighted. At least he can run faster than other monks. This alone is enough. Friend Lu Dao, it turns out you are here. It took me a long time to find you. Suddenly, a familiar voice came, and Li Jianfeng appeared not far in front of him. Wang Ruhai and the evil spirits on him have been eliminated by me. Come back to the camp with me and continue to identify the asparagus grass. He smiled, causing the centipede scar on his face to shrink together and stand out, making it even more hideous and terrifying. Stand, A silver-white sword blade appeared in Lu Xuan's hand. Correct code. Secret code, what code? Li Jianfeng asked doubtfully. It's a code that proves that you are not an evil spirit. I suspect that you have been contaminated by an evil spirit. If you want to prove yourself, you can tell me the code that you and I left before. Lu Xuan pointed the sword blade at Li Jianfeng and said in a deep voice. Chapter 93, Turn into Ashes and No Longer Recognize You. You are listening at novelfull.audio. How could I be evil? Look, this is Wang Ruhai's head and the strange skin on his body, all fell under my sword. Li Jianfeng held a bloody head and a limp skin in his hand, one end of the skin bag hung down, and Wang Ruhai's facial features could be vaguely seen. Young Daoist Li didn't tell you earlier, which made me suspicious and almost slandered you. As for the secret code, there is actually no secret code. If Taoist friend really said it, then there is something wrong with it. Lu Xuan put away the silver-white sword blade in his hand and said with a smile. Friend Lu Dao is really witty. The centipede-shaped scar on Li Jianfeng's face couldn't help but tremble a few times. The two put aside their doubts and worries and got closer. When the distance was less than 1 foot, Lu Xuan flicked the 2 fingers of his right hand in an extremely subtle way. Immediately, a long, thin red needle flew out with lightning speed that was difficult to discern with the naked eye. It penetrated from Li Jianfeng's left temple, penetrated his entire head, and flew out from his right temple. A golden sword light followed closely and shot into Li Jianfeng's heart, and a hole the size of a bowl suddenly appeared in his chest. Friend Lu Dao, what do you mean? Blood spurted out from the hole in his chest, and red and white brain marrow flowed out from both sides of his temples from time to time. Li Jianfeng ignored it and asked Lu Xuan with a stern look on his face. Such a serious injury will have no impact. You are indeed not fellow Taoist Li Jianfeng. Lu Xuan took back the red thread needle with a solemn expression. Ha ha ha, who else could I be if I wasn't Li Jianfeng? Okay, I don't know Li Jianfeng, but do you know this one? Li Jianfeng reached out and tore it apart from top to bottom, and the skin peeled off, revealing a new face inside. It was one of the spiritual planters who came with Lu Xuan. And this? Do you know this person? Pieces of pale skin peeled off and floated next to Li Jianfeng. Lu Xuan saw many familiar faces inside, including He Ping from Baichao Hall. His face was as gloomy as water, and 3 second-grade sword chi 10,000 talismans quietly slipped into the palm of his hand. The Xuanlei sword pills in his dantian expanded and contracted rapidly, converting the spiritual power in his body into sword light. 10 skin bags were floating on the ground, swinging wildly when blown by the night wind. Come, take off this skin of yours and keep company with them. Li Jianfeng, or in other words, there was no complete area on the body of the host skin. He smiled wantonly, formed a half-circle with 10 skins, and attacked Lu Xuan at high speed. Snort. Lu Xuan snorted coldly, and used 3 second-grade sword energy thousands of talismans. The sword patterns on the talismans lit up at the same time. Countless sword energy shot out from the talismans, flying past in a fan shape, piercing through all 10 skins, and pieces of shattered skin fell to the ground. You want to kill me if you destroy my skin. I will peel your skin off alive. The skin bag that had been collected for a period of time was violently destroyed by Lu Xuan, and the skin bag was furious. A thin skin bag that was so pale that it was almost transparent flew out of Li Jianfeng's body. There were layers of human faces on the skin bag, wailing silently, which was breathtaking. Lu Xuan's mind was affected by the countless phantoms of human faces, and his movements involuntarily paused for a moment. The transparent leather bag seized this fleeting opportunity and threw himself in front of Lu Xuan, on Lu Xuan's chest. As the transparent skin bag quickly approached, the innocent jade quietly lit up, and a layer of clear spiritual light swept over it, pushing the transparent skin bag aside. Lu Xuan's whole body was pure and holy, clear and bright, as if it could block any filth. Lu Xuan took a deep breath, and the essence and blood in his body burned rapidly. In an instant, a small blood-red arrow shot out from the mouth orifice, carrying the strong blood energy, and hit the transparent skin bag that was not yet stable. Where the two touched, a wisp of bloody flame burned silently, burning the body's skin. This bloody flame seemed to be extremely restrained by the resentment of the ghosts, and the layers of human faces on the skin turned into wisps of blue smoke and dissipated in the air. The sword pill, which was the size of an egg and composed of countless fine sword energy, shot out from Lu Xuan's mouth silently. The sword glow flickered on the sword pill, the black wind rolled wildly inside, and thunder emerged. Endless dark black sword light separated from the sword pill, forming a hurricane of sword energy, with lightning flashing inside, rushing towards the body with an irresistible force. Under the mighty sword rays, the skin of the body seemed to be immobilized by the sword's will, and he watched helplessly as countless sword rays rushed towards him to strangle him. Strands and strands of translucent skin fragments fell to the ground, and no one could be pieced together. On Lu Xuan's chest, the Wugo jade that had been exuding a cold chill since Li Jianfeng appeared finally returned to normal. The chill dissipated, leaving only a faint coolness soaking into his skin, making his mind clearer. He also learned that this alien skin bag had been successfully killed by him. Out of caution, he quickly took out several evil-dispelling talismans from his storage bag. Layers of pure aura swept across the entire battle area, ensuring that no trace of evil aura was left behind. With a movement of spiritual power, a bright red fireball the size of a head fell on the skin sac fragments, quickly burning all the skin sacs into countless black ash. I recognized you before you changed, but after turning into ashes, I don't recognize you anymore. Lu Xuan sighed, then came to Li Jianfeng, who had removed the skin bag, took off the storage bag from his waist, scanned it with the evil-dispelling talisman, burned Li Jianfeng's body into black ash, put it in a jade bottle, and buried it in a tree with a crooked neck. Under the tree, at this point, this alien skin has been completely cleared away. The outside world is too dangerous. I just came out to help the Wang family pick and process spiritual plants, and I encountered an invasion of evil spirits. Fortunately, there was no danger and I got 5 ghost-faced stone mushrooms. Well, there is also Li Jianfeng's storage bag, which can soothe my injured heart a little. Lu Xuan took out a blood soul pill and swallowed it in his belly to replenish the blood in his body. The Xuanlei Jianwan returned to the Dantian. Just now, in order to prevent the evil spirits from being killed, Lu Xuan poured out almost all the sword light that had been accumulated in the Jianwan during this period. It must be nourished for a while before it can be given the next dose of Qinwan. After swallowing the blood pill, his pale face gained a little more color. He recognized the direction and walked towards the outskirts of the secret realm again. With the evil spirits causing such trouble in the asparagus camp, it is estimated that the remaining spiritual planters who are still alive will not go back. In case something goes wrong, it's better for me to return to Fengshe as soon as possible. I don't know how well the grass puppets are taking care of them. I think the 4 iron claw crab cubs can still handle it, right? That while Lu Xuan was flying rapidly, he missed the spiritual beasts in the spiritual field. Halfway through, he opened the storage bag he got from Li Jianfeng and found dozens of preliminarily treated dragon beard plants, but he didn't know how many normal spiritual plants there were. There are also some elixirs, 2 second-grade magic weapons, 10 talismans, and more than 200 spiritual stones. There was no trace of the thick sword. As for the storage bags on other monks' bodies, it was not known how the body bag was disposed of. Lu Xuan did not find it, however. These were unexpected blessings. He didn't think about going back to find the storage bag. At this moment, he just wanted to leave the secret realm and return to the yard. Chapter 94 Weird Scabbard. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fellow Taoist, please stay. Lu Xuan shouted in surprise at the 3 monks more than 10 feet away. After he solved the host skin, he kept heading towards the periphery of the secret realm, away from the core area of the secret realm. Along the way, I had good luck. I picked a few elixirs and killed a first-grade monster without eyes, but he didn't know how to leave the secret realm. He always wanted to find a monk who was familiar with the secret realm to lead the way. It took nearly half an hour before he discovered the 3 monks. When the 3 monks heard Lu Xuan's call, they turned around. The spiritual power of the magical weapons in their hands surged, and their eyes were alert. Lu Xuan walked to a distance of 6 or 7 feet from the 3 of them. There were 3 monks, 2 men and 1 woman. 2 of them were at the 6th level of Qi cultivation, and 1 was at the 5th level of Qi cultivation. They were dusty, and it could be seen that they had been in the secret realm for a long time. Fellow Taoists, please rest assured. I have no ill intentions, but I have something to ask for. Lu Xuan stood still, spread his hands, and said with a kind expression. Fellow Taoist, please speak. The leader said, holding a black flying sword. I am an ordinary spiritual planter in Linyangfang City. I was invited by someone to pick some more difficult spiritual plants. Unexpectedly, I encountered evil spirits invading me on the way. My fellow monks were constantly being killed by evil spirits. I was lucky enough to escape with my life. However, this is the first time that I have entered this newly opened secret realm. I don't understand everything inside. After escaping, I don't know how to leave the secret realm. Can the 3 Taoist friends do it for me and take me out of the secret realm by the way? I will know how. Thank you 3 for having the spiritual stone. The 3 of them looked at Lu Xuan, and their spiritual senses revealed that Lu Xuan was on the 4th level of Qi training, and they exchanged vague glances. The tacit understanding formed over the years made the 3 of them immediately understand what the other 2 were thinking. Fellow Taoist will be blessed if he survives the catastrophe. The 3 of us are planning to leave the secret realm. Fellow Taoist can come with us. The leader, a middle-aged monk, said with a warm smile. Lu Xuan clasped his fists in gratitude and followed behind the 3 of them. Fellow Daoist Lu may be injured. Is it serious? Halfway through, after getting to know each other a little, the middle-aged monk asked aloud. Lu Xuan, who was following the 3 of them, didn't look very good at the moment. His face was pale, his steps were sloppy, and he looked like he was severely depleted of energy. Fortunately, thank you fellow Taoist for your concern. In order to get rid of the evil spirits, I used a technique that requires burning blood essence, so I am in this horrible state now, but I will recover soon. Lu Xuan explained that after taking a blood soul pill, the essence and blood in his body had almost recovered, but he looked a little weak on the surface. I see. I have a bottle of healing elixir here. It can quickly restore qi and blood after taking it. Fellow Taoist, would you like to try it? The middle-aged monk took out a jade bottle from his storage bag and was about to throw it to Lu Xuan. Lu Xuan quickly refused. What you say, fellow Daoist Lu, is too far-fetched. And I noticed that fellow Taoist people were far away from the 3 of me along the way. Are you worried that we and others will be disadvantageous to you? That's not true, it's just that I think it's better to keep a safe distance so that both parties can feel at ease. Lu Xuan explained. Fellow Taoist, this makes the 3 of us feel a little chilled. Since we have joined the ranks of the 3 of us, we must trust us instead of being so suspicious. Besides, there are evil beasts everywhere in the secret realm from time to time. Our Taoist friends are so far away from us. If we encounter an accident, we may not have time to rescue them. The leading middle-aged monk said patiently, and the 2 people beside him nodded in agreement. Then, I'm coming, Lu Xuan said tentatively, getting closer to the 3 of them. I told you to keep a safe distance, but you didn't. Keeping a safe distance is to protect you, not to protect me. On the ground, 3 small piles of black ash and residual heat were still there, and Lu Xuan threw an evil-dispelling talisman in the center of the triangle. The pure spiritual light spread without causing any abnormality. Lu Xuan was completely relieved and looked at the 3 storage bags in his hands. Not long ago, after luring him closer, the 3 of them suddenly got into trouble. They were easily dealt with by Lu Xuan, who was well prepared, and were burned to black ashes. Naturally, they accepted the storage bags left by the 3 of them. Surviving a catastrophe will indeed bring you blessings. Isn't the blessing coming now? The corners of Lu Xuan's mouth raised, and his spiritual energy reached into the storage bag. Bah, 3 poor guys, there are not many things left in the 3 storage bags. There are more than 100 spiritual stones in total, and some elixirs and talismans, mainly made of various monster materials, elixirs and herbs, but the grades are not included. Taken together, the value is far less than the storage bag left by Li Jianfeng. In the core area of the secret realm, there is a huge palace. More than a dozen monks were frantically attacking the restrictions outside the palace. The restrictions were crumbling and seemed to be shattered in the next moment. Among the dozen or so people, the one with the weakest cultivation level was at the advanced level of Qi training, and more than half of them were at the perfect state of Qi training. Even the head of the Wang family, who was in the early stage of foundation building, was among them. The girl in red, a disciple of the sect that Lu Xuan had seen before, was sitting in the corner, with 4 red eyes on her shoulders, 2 pairs of pupils staring into the distance, and 2 bloody tears on her strange face. A monk in black robes had several green and black ghosts crawling around on his body. Next to them was a pair of young men and women, dressed in white and with a small golden sword embroidered on their cuffs. Each wielded a flying sword to attack the restriction. After breaking through the many formation restrictions, the Wang family, together with several other groups, finally succeeded in breaking through to the last layer of restrictions. Everyone speculates that the secret realm here is a cave left behind by a late-stage foundation building monk or even a pill-forming monk. Therefore, they are even more thirsty for things in the palace. Under the violent attack, the restrictions suddenly shattered, and several rays of light flew out from inside. Everyone uses their own methods to fight for the treasures inside Haoguang. On the outskirts of the secret realm, Lu Xuan suddenly felt that the Xuanlei Jianwan, which was being nourished by spiritual power in his dantian, lost control, trembled slightly, and the frequency became larger and larger, as if it was about to pop out of his dantian at any time. What happened? Lu Xuan was shocked and confused. This was the first time he encountered this situation after getting the Xuanlei sword pill. At this moment, a ray of light flew towards Lu Xuan from the sky. Before he could react, the light suddenly came and stuck to his chest. An ancient sword scabbard stuck tightly to his chest and kept sliding down. There, can't. Just when Lu Xuan was about to grab the scabbard that was going downwards, the scabbard automatically stopped at his dantian. What is this? Lu Xuan grabbed the scabbard and was about to take a closer look when something came to his mind. His expression changed and transparent threads emerged from the surface of the invisible cloak he was wearing, swimming wildly. Lu Xuan's figure immediately disappeared from where he was. In an instant, a sharp wailing sound sounded from a distance, and before the sound fell, a blood cloud floated over. The blood cloud was filled with evil energy, almost turning into substance, and a violent spiritual consciousness swept across the place where the scabbard disappeared. But there was a soft cry from the blood cloud, and a bloody skeleton popped out of it, looking towards the ground. Pale flames flickered in the hollow eyes of the skeleton, and the flames wavered. I clearly noticed that the aura of the scabbard appeared here, but there was no trace left. Where did it go? That the bloody skeleton returned to the blood cloud and floated to the north. Chapter 95 Sword Peacock. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The blood cloud passed by, and after a few breaths, the monks of the Wang family who were in the early stages of foundation building stepped on the magical weapon of a flying boat, and arrived from a distance in an instant. The spiritual sense scanned and found nothing unusual. The head of the Wang family did not hesitate at all and chased in the direction where the blood cloud disappeared. Although he was very interested in the strange scabbard that flew out, the evil spirit was even more important. If we don't solve it, we can't take over this new secret realm with confidence. What's more, before the evil spirit escaped, he also grabbed a treasure of light and wanted to get it back. The flying boat weapon was like a sharp arrow, disappearing into the sky with a hiss. Half a moment later, Lu Xuan's figure appeared under a giant tree dozens of feet away, with a look of fear remaining on his face. After the blood cloud appeared, a biting chill came from the third-grade untainted jade hanging on his chest, as if half of his chest was frozen, compared with the alien body skin that I saw at close range before. The chill was many times stronger. Lu Xuan therefore concluded that the blood-colored skeleton in the blood cloud was much stronger than the body's skin. It was definitely a ghost-level evil spirit, comparable to a foundation-building monk. After he inexplicably obtained the strange scabbard that was attracted by Xuanlei Jianwan, he immediately sensed something was wrong. The speed of this scabbard was so fast that even his 8th-level Qi training realm spiritual consciousness and cultivation level didn't even react. Moreover, he actively searched for the location of the sword pill. It looked like it was no ordinary treasure at first glance. Treasures of this level often bring a lot of unnecessary trouble, therefore, after Lu Xuan got the scabbard, he immediately put it into his storage bag and subconsciously activated the third-grade hidden spirit cloak to enter a short-term invisible state, avoiding direct contact with the strange-level skeleton. He took out a Peiyuan pill from his storage bag, quickly replenished his remaining spiritual power, identified the direction, and rushed out of the secret realm. On the way, he raised his hidden cultivation level to the 5th level of Qi training, and took out the second-grade sword grass to enhance his persuasiveness, so as not to be easily regarded as a fat sheep by the monks. At this moment, both the monks and the monsters disappeared outside the secret realm. Lu Xuan walked slowly in the woods, looking for the monks. Suddenly, 2 rays of sword light passed by from above, and soon they turned back and stopped in front of Lu Xuan. The 2 of them were wearing standard robes and looked extraordinary. There is a man and a woman. The female cultivator has an extremely beautiful appearance and a cold temperament, like an orchid in an empty valley. The other male cultivator has an ordinary appearance, but his eyes are particularly sharp, like a sharp sword. "Excuse me, fellow Taoist. Could you please do me a favor and show me the utensils in your hands?" The cold woman asked, her voice also revealing a cold meaning. Lu Xuan's spiritual consciousness swept over him and he instantly realized that both of them were much higher in cultivation than himself. He looked calm and said calmly, "Looking at the demeanor of the 2 of you, you should be from a well-known and authentic family. Isn't it a bit disrespectful to ask for things from others at will? I was rude." A trace of apology flashed in the female cultivator's eyes. "The thing in the hands of fellow Taoist really surprised me. This is the first time I saw someone outside possessing the unique spiritual plant of Tianxing sect, the sword grass. Hence the new curiosity." Lu Xuan's face softened slightly and his tone was much calmer. Since the woman in front of him knew the name of the sword grass, it at least meant that what she said was true. "This sword grass was cultivated by me, and it definitely did not come from the hands of monks from your noble sect." Lu Xuan said in a deep voice. The cold woman understood the meaning of his words and smiled, like an orchid blooming. "I don't doubt, fellow Taoist, because the sword grass in fellow Taoist's hand is slightly different from the one produced in the sect, which is easy to distinguish." She paused. "Among the ancestors of fellow Taoists, are there any monks who have joined the Tianxing sect?" "No." Lu Xuan shook his head. "I am just a casual spiritual planter. By chance, I got a sword grass spiritual seed and cultivated it successfully by chance." "I see." The female cultivator nodded slightly, a trace of surprise flashed in her eyes. She did not expect that the sect's inherited spiritual plant was actually cultivated by a spiritual planter who practiced Qi and Sanshu. It seems that fellow Taoist has a strong talent in cultivating spiritual plants. She paused and continued. "I wonder if you are interested in joining the Tianxing sect. If so, I can introduce you to you." Lu Xuan looked hesitant. He still had a lot of expectations for joining the sect. After all, the sect can provide a safe environment with rich spiritual energy, as well as high-grade spiritual plants and spiritual seeds. These are things he needs very much at the moment. It's just that the 2 people who suddenly appeared in front of him made it difficult for him to trust them. The cold woman saw the hesitation in Lu Xuan's heart and smiled. "Among other things, like the sword grass grown by fellow Taoists, there are many related variants in Tianxing sect. My 4th-grade sword Peacock is a mutation of ordinary sword grass." Before the woman finished speaking, she saw a green flying sword with the same shape as the sword grass rising from behind, spinning rapidly, and with the sound of the sword, it differentiated into hundreds of actual sword energy, like a peacock spreading its wings, one after another. The sword spirit is flamboyant, and the beauty and splendor hide endless murderous intent. Lu Xuan's eyes couldn't help but light up. "This so-called sword peacock is quite cool." The cold woman smiled when she saw Lu Xuan's expression moved. "If fellow Taoists enter this sect, they can directly try to cultivate sword grass that is the same level as or even better than sword peacock. Tianxing sect will start a new round of recruiting disciples in a few months. This is a Qingyun order. Each inner disciple is eligible to give one to others. With this order, you can save some money when you join Tianxing sect. There are some tedious steps, but there are some benefits. A cyan token flew out of the woman's sleeve and floated in front of Lu Xuan. There are light cyan clouds on the token, and a sword tip pierces out of the clouds, as if trying to break free from the token. Seeing Lu Xuan accept the cyan token, the cold woman and the other person did not stop, raised their flying swords, and disappeared from Lu Xuan's sight in an instant. I hope to see fellow Taoist friends soon. Lu Xuan took the cyan token and touched the Wugo jade on his chest, but nothing strange happened. He looked at the token in his hand and felt something quietly forming in his heart. High in the sky, two sword lights flashed like lightning. Junior Sister Su, how could you give away the Qingyun token in your hand so easily? He is still a casual cultivator with average cultivation. The monk with eyes as sharp as a sword suddenly asked. The cold woman he was traveling with had similar cultivation levels, but there was a huge difference in their identities. The woman's name is Su Manman, an inner disciple of the Tianxing sect. She has outstanding talent and an unusual identity. She is the daughter of an elder in the Tianxing sect, so she can protect herself with a 4th-grade sword Peacock during the Qi training stage. Senior brother Zhang, you have to know that cultivating a sword grass is not a simple matter. It requires the spiritual plant master to master a superb sword technique. There can be no mistakes in the cultivation process. During the nourishment process of the sword energy, too much or too little is not conducive to the growth of sword grass. Even in the sect, there are many spiritual planters who cannot cultivate it. What's more, I found that the quality of the sword grass in the hands of that casual cultivator was much higher than the average, which is even more rare. With such a powerful swordsmanship talent and spiritual planter talent, it's worth giving me the Qingyun token. This time I came to this secret realm, but I didn't find any good treasures. But by some combination of circumstances, I might have found someone who could be made. Isn't my uncle worried that Sword Peacock, Sword Crow, and the others have no successors? Maybe the casual cultivator just now can bring him an unexpected surprise. That the cold woman pursed her lips and smiled, with a hint of mischief in her eyes. Chapter 96. Still the same iron claw crab as before. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Finally home. Lu Xuan stood in front of the gate of his courtyard, filled with emotions. Fortunately, there are still good people in the cultivation world who brought me back to Fengshe. After meeting the first 3 monks, he met 2 more waves of monks, all of whom were enthusiastic and generous, and insisted on giving the storage bags on their bodies to him. Only when he met 2 monks for the 4th time was he willing to take Lu Xuan back to Sanxiufang City. During the return process, there was no 2nd-grade iron-feathered eagle on board, so the speed was much slower. It took Lu Xuan and others 4 or 5 days to arrive at Fang City. With a creak, the door opened, and a familiar breath of spiritual power came from the yard. Lu Xuan took a deep breath, feeling at peace in his heart. Friend Lu Dao, you are finally back. Not far away, a familiar voice came. Lu Xuan turned around and saw Wu Wenjing standing at the door a few feet away, looking at him with drunken eyes. I heard that you went to that new secret place, and I was worried that you would lose one of your drinking companions. Just hope you come back safely. The old man said with a smile. There is no other way. The monks from the Wang family came forward to invite me and I had to agree. Lu Xuan said helplessly. A little accident did happen in the secret realm. Fortunately, there was no danger and we came back smoothly. By the way, fellow Daoist Wu, has anyone been outside my courtyard during my absence? Wu Wenjing shook his head to clear his head and think for a while. There is a young man named Zhang who comes to play with you. In addition, the old steward from Baichao Hall comes here almost every day. Other than that, I don't see anyone coming over. Okay, thank you Daoist Wu. I'll tidy up when I get back to the house and come over to have a drink with you. The figures of Zhang Shuyuan and He Guanshi appeared in Lu Xuan's mind, and he said with a smile, entering the courtyard, he had no time to sit down and rest, so he immediately came to the spiritual field. Inside the spiritual field, the mist filled the air. The grass puppet noticed that someone was invading the spiritual field, and the huge gray grass head looked over. After sensing Lu Xuan's aura, it froze in place. paused for a few breaths, and then continued to patrol the grounds of the spirit field. Its pace seemed to be much brisker as it moved. Lu Xuan scanned the entire spiritual field and found that everything was as usual. Then he felt relieved and came to the spiritual spring pool. In the crystal-clear Lingquan pool, for first-grade iron claw crab cubs each occupied a corner, spitting out transparent bubbles. After not feeding for more than 10 days, Lu Xuan found that the crab's abdomen was much flattened. The bulging eyeballs on the head that jumped out the most noticed that Lu Xuan's upper body was leaning over, holding a pair of green and black claws like big knives high, clamping them like pliers, and he was extremely arrogant. Very good, you are still the same iron claw crab as before, without any change. Lu Xuan looked at the iron claw crab cub that provoked him with great relief. In the center of the Lingquan pool, the pure snow lotus was surrounded by high mud and stone walls. After more than 10 days, a white jade-like lotus pod had quietly grown, and the embryonic form of lotus seeds could be vaguely seen in the lotus pod. This is an unexpected surprise. Lu Xuan's mind was focused on Jingzuelian, and he was delighted when he saw that the progress bar at the bottom was only a short distance away from being completely full. In the spiritual field, before Lu Xuan left, he picked all the fireflies and put the third-grade Huanyan Luogua and Jiavine into the raw material bag. Therefore, in addition to the first-grade Jingzuelian, there were only 3 second-grade Qingmiao plants, Lingcha, and 5 copperbone bamboos. In addition, there are 4 diseased second-grade spiritual plants purchased previously in the corner. After not being properly cultivated for more than 10 days, both Qingmialing tea and Tonggu bamboo are not in very good condition. Lu Xuan quickly scooped a bowl of Lingquan from the Lingquan pool and poured it on the old roots of Lingcha. He also took out a handful of fine iron powder from the storage bag and sprinkled it around the copperbone bamboo. After handling the Lingtian Lingji for a while, Lu Xuan opened the raw material bag, and the cloud-walking lynx jumped out of the gray-black cloth bag, and landed safely on the thick soles of its feet. Ouch! It stretched its limbs and pinched lightly. This trip to the secret place, it spent most of the time in a raw bag, and its joints were almost rusty. Lu Xuan took out the Huanyan Luogua and Jiaoteng from the raw material bag. After being left inside for so long, the vitality of the two has not weakened much. Planted again in the spiritual field, focusing on these 2 third-grade spiritual plants. White smoke quickly secreted from the inside of the phantom smoke fruit, and it continued to expand, hiding the smoke-like spirit fruit. As for the dragon vine, Lu Xuan sensed its strong desire for snake blood from the vine, and hurriedly took out the green water snake blood and poured more water on the black vine. The vines frantically absorbed the blood of the green anaconda, which was mixed with red and green. After a while, the originally dry vines slowly came to life, swimming slowly like a poisonous snake. There were red and green lines on the surface of the vines, adding a bit of coquettishness and strangeness. After cultivating the spiritual plants, Lu Xuan returned to the house and took stock of the gains from this outing. This time I went to the secret place to identify the separated spiritual plants for the Wang family. Although I encountered an accident on the way, I was able to gain a lot. Among them, one of the biggest gains was the 5 ghost-face stone mushrooms that fell into dormancy. I got 5 third-grade spiritual plants at once, but I still need to crush the refined resentment to awaken them. The appearance of the ghost-face stone mushroom and its cultivation method revealed something evil, but Lu Xuan didn't care much about it. After trying to feed Xie Sui with spiritual fruits and learning its true identity, Lu Xuan even wanted to try raising a little Xie Sui if given the chance. Not to mention this weird style of spiritual plant, there are also dozens of preliminarily processed asparagus plants, which may contain many mutant plants. At the same time, it is necessary to separate the abnormal silk fibers from the normal asparagus grass. Lu Xuan already had a method of complete identification and separation, and could quickly filter out the normal asparagus grass. A second-grade spiritual plant can be exchanged for a lot of spiritual stones. In terms of spirit stones, there are 100 spirit stones paid by the Wang family as part of the reward, more than 200 spirit stones in Li Jianfeng's storage bag, and a total of more than 200 spirit stones provided by several other monks. Lu Xuan's net worth can exceed 1,000 spirit stones. In addition, there are 2 second-grade magic weapons, several storage bags, various types of first-grade talismans, first-grade elixirs, a pile of low-grade monster materials, and spiritual herbs and elixirs. There is also the strange Scabbard, which seems to be attracted by the Xuanlei's sword pill in his body. It has been silent for the past few days, however. It can be haunted by evil spirits, and if the monks in the early stages of foundation building are looking for it at the same time, it is likely to be some great treasure. Finally, there is the so-called Qingyun order that the cold female cultivator left to me, which allows the cultivators to join the Tianxing sect more easily. No wonder so many casual cultivators are keen on exploring secret realms and competing with others for opportunities. The benefits are really too great. However, there is also a lot of risk hidden in it. Evil spirits invade and track, and monks have evil intentions. If you are not careful, you may fall into danger. It's better to cultivate spiritual plants quietly. Lu Xuan couldn't help but sigh. Chapter 97 Decision. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Crack. A piece of dark or the size of a fist was easily pinched off by a huge black claw. The iron claw crab cub raised a pair of claws like swords towards Lu Xuan, its eyeballs bulging as if with disdain. I haven't done it for a while, and my skills are improving. Lu Xuan sighed with a smile, and sent the fine iron ore divided into 2 to the claws of the iron claw crab. 2 parts are divided into 4 parts, and 4 parts are divided into 8 parts. The size of the ore becomes smaller at a speed visible to the naked eye. The Calicera crab cubs tirelessly pinch off the overstretched ore and are full of toughness. Along with the clicking sounds, Lu Xuan's thoughts were wandering. This time he was invited to the secret realm, and he felt that the casual cultivators were involuntarily. I usually farm peacefully, do not make enemies with others, and do not get into any disputes over interests. I just show my identity as a spiritual planter with good planting talent. In order to avoid some unnecessary trouble, he also established a certain cooperative relationship with Baikatang, the foundation-building alchemist, and affiliated himself with Baikatang, but when the Wang family monk came to invite him, he still couldn't help himself. Even if he didn't want to go to the secret realm to help identify the spiritual plants, he had to agree. The helplessness of the casual cultivators at the bottom is vividly reflected. After this trip, he had the idea of leaving Linyangfang City. Baikatang recommended himself to the Wang family. No matter what the purpose was, it was obvious that it would cause trouble for him, and the only friendship between the 2 parties was lost. Of course, this does not affect his attitude towards Higuancher. Over the years, the thin old man has taken care of himself and cared about him. As for the Wang family, 2 high-level Qi training monks were killed in the secret realm this time. In anger, they will definitely come to question themselves. Even if they have a clear conscience, they may bring disaster to Qiyu. But leaving Linyangfang City, where to go is another question. Change to a new city. The world is as dark as crows. Lu Xuan guessed that even if he changed to another city, he would not be able to change the fact that he was restricted by others. Find a mountain forest, live a secluded life, and cultivate spiritual plants alone. It is a bit unrealistic. First of all, cultivating spiritual plants requires pure spiritual energy, and it is best to cultivate spiritual fields near spiritual veins. Secondly, if you are alone outside, you may encounter evil spirits and monsters. Finally, it is difficult to obtain high-grade spiritual seeds. In this case, the best place to go is to enter the sect. With Lu Xuan's current cultivation level of the 8th level of Qi training and his unique and superb skills in cultivating spiritual plants, he is qualified to join the sect. The benefits of entering a sect are obvious. The spiritual energy is purer and richer, which is conducive to the growth of spiritual plants. It also provides a safe and stable shelter environment. It is also possible to obtain high-grade spiritual seeds, young spiritual beasts, etc. After making the decision, Lu Xuan's first thought was the Tianxing sect mentioned by the cold female cultivator. With the Qingyun order given by her, it will be much easier for him to join the sect. Lu Xuan is also very interested in the mutant sword grass mentioned by the female cultivator. Next, it's time to make preparations to leave Fengshe and solve the problem with the Wang family. He stood up and turned his attention to the iron claw crab cub at his feet. The pair of Caliceri were already trembling and shaking in the air. but whenever a fine iron stone stretched out, they would always be tempted to violently pinch it off. Lu Xuan threw it into the Lingquan pool, collected the fine iron gravel, opened the mist-hidden formation, told the grass puppet to take good care of the Lingtian, and took the cloud-stepping lynx to the Baichao Hall. In Baichao Hall, the aroma of medicine was strong. Lu Xuan walked into the door and saw the thin old man in a daze in front of the counter. He walked up to the old man and waved his hand in front of his eyes. When Guanxi he came back to his senses and saw Lu Xuan, his eyes lit up and a smile spread across his face. "Boy Lu, you are finally back. I heard that you went to that secret place, and I have been worried. Just come back, just come back." The thin old man gently patted Lu Xuan on the shoulder. "I'm sorry to bother you so much." Lu Xuan felt a sense of warmth in his heart, bowed his head and said gratefully. He Lao looked around and saw that no one was paying attention, so he whispered to Lu Xuan. "A spiritual planter who entered the secret realm together said that you were invaded by evil spirits in the secret realm. What happened?" "It's true." Lu Xuan nodded heavily. "At that time, under the leadership of the Wang family monks, we were picking and processing spiritual plants somewhere in the secret realm. Suddenly one day, we discovered that a spiritual planter had disappeared inexplicably. Soon after, a high-level Qi training monk from the Wang family discovered that his companion was invaded and contaminated by evil spirits, and the two of them fought to the death. We spiritual planters, who have low cultivation and are not good at fighting, were worried about being affected, so we all fled separately. I don't know what happened next. After I escaped from the secret realm, I tried to find a few monks. I was lucky enough to be taken out of the secret realm and back to Fengshe." Lu Xuan told the truth, but concealed a few key points: discover the evil spirit, report it to Li Jianfeng, kill Li Jianfeng who was invaded by the evil spirit, escape the evil spirit, and eliminate several teams of monks with evil intentions. The biggest lie is not that there are 9 truths and 1 falsehood, but that they are all true, but when combined together they become lies. He learned from Guanxi that besides Lu Xuan, there were already 5 or 6 spiritual planters who had returned. Among the remaining 2 in Baichao Hall, only He Ping had not returned. Lu Xuan felt a little at ease. After adding a few more people, what he said became more credible. At the same time, the risk of being blamed by the Wang family was also equally distributed. He paused, looking hesitant, and finally gritted his teeth and said to the thin old man. "He Guanxi, He Ping in the hall may not come back. I took a look from a distance when I was escaping, and found that he was being targeted by evil spirits, and there is a high probability that something unexpected happened to him." "Really? In this case, the Wang family won't be able to give us an explanation. He Ping is related to the alchemist in the hall, and his low position is unusual. There is one more thing I must make clear. When we were picking and identifying spiritual plants, Wang Ruhai, who was supposed to stay in the camp with the Wang family, went out to explore the secret realm without permission, and thus became contaminated with evil spirits, which led to this disaster. Is this true?" "Manager," he asked seriously. "The other spiritual planters can testify. In this case, the nature is different. If it was simply invaded and contaminated by evil spirits, it could be said to be an accident, and the Wang family would be qualified to question the surviving monks, but because Wang Ruhai did not assume the responsibility of escorting the spiritual planters, but instead caused evil spirits due to his own dereliction of duty, the disaster had nothing to do with Lu Xuan and others. On the contrary, the death of the spiritual planter must be blamed on Wang Ruhai of the Wang family. Each of the more than 10 spiritual planters who went to the secret realm was a treasure of the major forces in the city. Losing any one of them would cause great losses. After knowing that the negligence of the Wang family monks led to this result, the other families and forces in Fang City will never let it go and will definitely seek an explanation. With the game between the two sides, there was no time to take care of a small casual cultivator like Lu Xuan. Chapter 99. Let me show you my big baby. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Thousands of feet high in the sky, Lu Xuan closed the common spiritual plants and their treatment methods he got from the girl in red, stretched out and looked out the window, thick clouds continued outside the window, and thick and long arcs of electricity flashed faintly in the distance. The Wanxiang boat is extremely stable during flight and does not feel the slightest bumps. Although Ding's room was the lowest level, Lu Xuan felt that the experience was pretty good. At least it had an independent free space and could see the high altitude scene outside the ship. It has been more than half a month since he boarded the ship. During this time, he basically stayed in his room, reading and practicing. Not cultivating spiritual plants for such a long time made him very unaccustomed, and his bones felt like they were rusty. Of course, the most important point is that after practicing for half a month, he has made no progress at all. When cultivating spiritual plants, he can intuitively feel the growth of spiritual plants, and the white light groups are growing bit by bit as the spiritual plants grow. Come out. Sure enough, with my talent, there is no need to have any delusions about how much I can achieve when it comes to cultivation. He also realized once again that he was mediocre in his cultivation. If he kept cultivating like he was staying in the Vientiane ship, he would not be able to break through to the 9th level of Qi training at any time. The Wanxiang ship did not arrive directly at Jianmen town from Linyangfang City. It made several stops in the middle to exchange resources between the various buildings, as well as the monks who disembarked halfway, and for the supply and maintenance of the Wanxiang ship itself. During this period, we did not encounter any danger, but we encountered 2 demonic birds attacking the Wanxiang ship. They were killed by the Wanbailun monks on the ship without even breaking through the protective aura shield outside the ship. In half an hour, the Vientiane ship will arrive at Jianmen town. The monks who are going to Jianmen town, please be prepared and don't miss the valuable magic weapon. Just as Lu Xuan was in a state of mind, a gentle voice sounded in his ears. How can he let a foundation-building monk report the itinerary for me? I feel like 200 spirit stones are not out of the question. Lu Xuan smiled secretly, staring outside the window. Half an hour later, the Vientiane ship landed in a broad square. Lu Xuan lightly jumped to the ground of the square, and suddenly felt a sense of reality coming from his feet. In front of him was a bustling market town. Outside the town stood a broad stone sword that was 100 feet high. There were marks of different sizes and deep and shallow marks on the sword. The monks who passed by were involuntarily attracted to the stone sword, and there were even many sword cultivators who stayed under the huge stone sword, with their hands pointing at the sword, gesticulating constantly. Thoughtfully, Lu Xuan came to the center of the town and found that the monks in the town surpassed the monks in the city in terms of cultivation, temperament, and age. He walked around for a while. And after asking, he learned that it would be some time before the Tianxing sect accepted disciples, so he found an inn and booked a room for the price of 2 spirit stones per day. While waiting, he took the time to look at the many spiritual beasts in the bag, and let the cloud-walking lynx out for a while. The vitality of the spiritual beasts was still good, and Lu Xuan felt relieved. It's really weird. In such a big market, you can't find an unknown spiritual species. Lu Xuan returned to the room cursing. Nearly 20 days passed after he arrived in Jianmen town. During this period, in addition to practicing and reading, he also went to the town market from time to time in his spare time. Jianmen town has the support of the nearby Tianxing sect, which has a very deep foundation. Lu Xuan saw many spiritual species in the market, mainly first- and second-grade spiritual species, and even occasionally saw third-grade spiritual species on the stalls. This is basically impossible to happen in Linyangfang City. Third-grade spiritual seeds will only appear in well-known stores like Wanbao Building, and the prices are extremely expensive, which makes people shy away, but the bad thing is that the background is too deep. Every time Lu Xuan finds a spiritual species that he doesn't know, he will ask the stall owner, trying to find an unknown spiritual species, just like the sword grass and dark marrow mushroom before, he will miss it. As a result, every stall owner was able to introduce detailed information such as the types and grades of spiritual seeds, so that his idea of picking up leeks was stillborn. Lu Xuan, a normal spiritual species, has not considered buying it for the time being. He has not yet decided to join Tianxing sect, and his spiritual field has not yet been found. In addition, Lu Xuan speculates that after officially joining the sect, he may get better products at a more favorable price. Spirit seed, so I am not in a hurry. Brother Lu, are you back from the market? Not long after he entered the house, a young man about his age walked in. The young man has a delicate appearance and slender eyes, which narrow into two slits when he smiles. He lives next door to Lu Xuan. He has a relatively familiar personality, and he also wants to join the Tianxing sect. They are similar in age, cultivation, and goals, so they gradually become acquainted with each other. After Lu Xuan arrived at Jianmen town, he revealed his 8th level qi cultivation. Firstly, he was worried that he would not be able to hide it in front of the monks of Tianxing sect when the cultivation was tested, and secondly, he wanted to slightly increase his bargaining chip. The young man's name was Bailey Jianqing. During the chat, Lu Xuan learned that his grandfather had practiced in Tianxing sect, but failed to be promoted to an inner disciple. Under his influence, he highly admired the Tianxing sect, so he traveled thousands of miles to continue his grandfather's unfinished route. In a few days, Tianxing sect will start to select the outer disciples. With our cultivation, it is a certainty that we will become outer disciples. Bailey Jianqing sat on a chair, swinging his legs and shaking his head. I have been looking forward to this day for a long time. I heard that there is a spiritual plant called sword grass in Tianxing sect. It is a natural sword weapon and is extremely rare for sword cultivators. My grandfather had one in his hand. He treated it like a treasure. He only played with it a few times when I was a child, but never saw it again when I grew up. If I can get a sword grass after entering the sect, then I will have no regrets in life. Bailey Jianqing is a sword cultivator who is good at swordsmanship and is extremely thirsty for the mysterious sword grass in Tianxing sect. When Lu Xuan saw him like this, he couldn't help but feel like a boy. He smiled mysteriously at him and raised his fingers. Come here and show you my big baby. After saying that, he took out the black and hard, high-quality second-grade sword grass from the storage bag on his waist, and danced with the sword in his hand. Wow! Sword grass. The quality is so good. Bailey Jianqing rushed over quickly and grabbed the dark black sword grass. It is indeed a natural sword. The sword's intention is completely natural and natural, without any flaws. Bailey Jianqing gently wiped the blade of the sword grass, as if he had met the lover of his dreams after decades of thirst, with a fanatical look in his eyes. Brother Lu, Brother Xian, how about you give me this sword grass at a high price? Or what kind of treasure do you want? Anyone below the 3rd rank can ask for it. Although my Bailey family is nothing in Jianmen town, it is still quite famous in the local area. Lu Xuan pulled the sword grass out of the hand of Bailey Jianqing, who was reluctant to let go, and his eyes seemed to be spinning, and put it into his storage bag. I have a few questions to ask you. If the answers satisfy me, I may be able to get you a high-quality sword grass after joining the sect. Lu Xuan said with a smile. Chapter 100 Zhou Tianxing Sword Fighting Formation Zhenshan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brother Lu, if you ask, I promise to tell you everything I know. Bailey Jianqing nodded heavily. Your grandfather has practiced in the Tianxing sect for many years. You must know a lot about many situations in the sect. I would like to ask, after joining the sect, can the disciples in the sect have a spiritual field and freely cultivate spiritual plants? That's natural. After entering, the sect will send foundation building and even alchemy forming monks to teach and explain the cultivation methods, and teach cultivation techniques such as alchemy formations and talismans. Occasionally, there will be sect tasks that must be completed. Other than these, outer sect disciples can arrange their time freely. As long as they violate the sect rules, there will be no problems. As for the spiritual field, Tianxing sect covers an area of more than 1,000 miles and has countless strange peaks. Disciples can open their own caves within the specified area. Even after being promoted to inner disciples, they can have their own spiritual vein. Lu Xuan nodded to express understanding. Brother Lu, you are asking so many questions, could it be? Bailey Jianqing looked like he wanted to ask but was afraid to ask. Yes, after entering the sect, the first thing I have to do is cultivate spiritual plants and raise spiritual beasts. Brother Lu, you are a little older than me. The fact that you have reached the current level as a casual cultivator shows that your cultivation talent is extremely good. Why can't you figure out how to plant spiritual plants? Everyone has his own ambitions. Just as you are obsessed with swordsmanship, I am equally obsessed with watching the spiritual beasts I cultivated grow and mature little by little. Furthermore, although spiritual planting is not as good as the alchemy talisman, it is also one of the cultivation skills. If it were not for the existence of the spiritual planting master, how would you have obtained the sword grass you have been thinking about? Lu Xuan asked rhetorically. That's right, I absolutely support you, Brother Lu. As soon as he heard that he could cultivate the sword grass he wanted, Bailey Jianqing came over with a shy face, his slender eyes completely narrowed into two slits. Lu Xuan used this to consolidate his character of cultivating spiritual plants. A few days later, there was a wide square under the huge stone sword. At one end of the square, there were two white jade square tables. In front of the tables sat two monks from the Tianxing sect wearing blue shirts. There were 7 or 8 outer disciples around them to maintain order. Lu Xuan and Bailey Jianqing arrived at the square early. There were only a few people in front of a square table, all wearing robes, full of aura and bright eyes. There was a long queue in front of another square table. Lu Xuan estimated that there were no less than 100 people. He queued obediently at the back of the team. When he turned around, he saw Bailey Jianqing changing into a team with a smaller number of people at some point. It's not okay to jump in line like this. Just as Lu Xuan was about to call him over, he saw Bailey Jianqing taking out a blue token and shaking it at him with a wink. Qingyun token. Having that token is equivalent to taking the VIP channel. Lu Xuan recognized the token in Bailey Jianqing's hand at a glance, and he had one on his body. He looked at the long queue and came silently behind Bailey Jianqing. In his surprised eyes, he took out the Qingyun order from the storage bag. Brother Lu, you don't show your real face. As a casual cultivator, you got a Qingyun order. Lu Xuan smiled. I got it by chance. The Tianxing sect monks in front of the two white jade square tables need to conduct a preliminary screening of the many monks present, testing bone age, cultivation level, body aura, etc. Except for a few specially recruited low-level and mid-level Qi training monks, those who are over 30 years old, whose cultivation level is less than high-level Qi training, or whose origins are not correct will be eliminated in the first round. At first, Lu Xuan was worried that he would not be able to pass the test smoothly with his talent. Later, after asking Bailey Jianqing, he learned that talent is only one of the more important aspects, and what is more important is the monk's own cultivation. After all, if a monk wants to make continuous progress along the way, talent, luck, xinxing, wealth, dharma, land, etc. are all indispensable. Being able to practice to a high level of Qi training before 30 means at least that he has good skills in one or more types of Qi. Has unique advantages. With Qingyun order's guarantee, the first round of screening was just a formality. Soon, an outer disciple of Tianxing sect walked up to several people. Hello future junior brothers and sisters, I will lead you to the Tianxing sect first. After that, he patted the storage bag on his waist, and a fusiform flying boat appeared on the ground. The flying boat flashed with aura, and there were many runes engraved on it. It was a second-grade flying magic weapon. Lu Xuan clasped his fists and saluted, then followed the others onto the flying boat. The flying boat was flying at an extremely fast speed, soaring in the sky. The mountains below turned into afterimages, constantly sweeping back. Along the way, the young monk from the Tianxing sect with an upright appearance and temperament was extremely enthusiastic. When controlling the flying boat, he kept looking for topics to chat with everyone in the flying boat. He did not look down upon Lu Xuan, who was dressed in ordinary clothes. He knew in his heart that those who could obtain the Qingyun order were either of extraordinary origin or had unique talents and were highly favored. Although he had joined the Tianxing sect in advance, he would soon be recognized by everyone present. Beyond. After a while, the flying boat came to a magic circle that blocked out the sky and the sun. The magic formation stretches for an unknown number of miles, with stars twinkling all over the sky. Meteors fall from time to time, landing on the surface of the formation. arousing sword intent like swimming fish. Lu Xuan looked carefully, and the infinite sword intent suddenly emerged from the stars. This is the Zhou Tianxing sword fighting formation, the sect-protecting formation of the Tianxian sect. It is also a killing formation with a notorious reputation in the cultivation world. It is famous for its killing power. Even if the powerful nascent soul falls into the sword formation, they may die in it. The monk from the outer sect of the Tianxian sect with an upright temperament proudly introduced to several people. After the flying boat landed, he led Lu Xuan and others to a huge stone turtle. The stone turtle is huge and has a mottled shell. It has been there for an unknown number of years, lying motionless outside the sword formation. The monk from Tianxian sect flicked his finger, and a dark purple pill flew into Shigui's mouth. Shigui raised his head with difficulty and slowly, and an obscure spiritual power flashed through. Lu Xuan felt like he could see everything in front of Shigui. Feel. This is the mountain guardian spirit beast that controls the mountain turtle. It is too old to be studied for a long time. It can understand people's speech and detect evil spirits. If you go in and out of the mountain gate in the future, you can feed it a special beast pellet to make it more convenient. Feeding the sect-protecting spirit beast. Lu Xuan felt a little excited just thinking about it. Seeing the old stone turtle gently nodding, the Tianxian sect monk came to the spiritual energy barrier and took out a black nameplate. The spiritual energy flashed through, and a small door appeared on the spiritual energy barrier in front of him that could allow two people to pass through. Lu Xuan followed him and entered the sword formation. As soon as he entered, he noticed a strong and pure spiritual energy rushing towards him, causing the spiritual energy in his body to become instantly active, which was countless times stronger than the small courtyard he had in Fang City. He even had the illusion that he could make rapid progress in his own cultivation in this spiritual environment. As expected of a sect, with such abundant and pure spiritual energy, spiritual plants should grow faster and be more likely to be of high quality, right? Lu Xuan thought secretly. Within the sect, the mountains, rivers, and lakes are filled with spiritual energy, the clouds are steaming and the clouds are shining, and the weather is ever-changing. All kinds of strange birds and beasts can freely shuttle around, showing the sect style. Double last day, please give me a monthly pass.